Tonight, you're not in your bedroom. You're drifting across centuries, carried on the quiet breath of a desert wind. In this sacred stillness, you'll enter the secret places where God once spoke, not through thunder nor fire, but through the tender mystery of dreams. Tonight, we'll walk beside Jacob, who saw ladders stretch from earth to heaven. We'll stand in the silent courts of Pharaoh, as Joseph whispers the meaning of wheat and stars. We'll rest at the feet of Daniel, who closed his eyes to visions no man could tame. As you listen, may your heart awaken to the whispers that still come when the world grows dark and sleep lays its hand upon your eyes. Where are you listening from tonight? I read every comment, and if this kind of storytelling speaks to your heart, you're welcome to join us. Just tap subscribe before you drift off. You stand at the edge of an ancient plain, where the night hums with the soft breath of sheep and the low rustle of desert grass. The sky above you is endless, draped in stars that flicker like tiny lanterns, each one a secret waiting to be heard. Your feet sink into the sand beside a solitary figure, a man wrapped in a coarse cloak, his head resting on a stone. It is Jacob. Long before he was Israel, he was a wanderer, a man who fled his brother's anger and his own deceit. But tonight, under this canopy of stars, he is just a man with nothing but the cold ground to cradle him. You hear his breath, slow, uncertain, as sleep overtakes him. And then it comes, the vision, a ladder rising from the earth, its rungs climbing into the vastness above. Angels move up and down its steps like the tide, quiet and endless. And there, at the very top, stands the Lord, a promise held in the hush of a dream. I am with you, you hear, as if the words drift into your own chest. I will not leave you. In the darkness, Jacob stirs, and a tear slips from the corner of his closed eye. He does not know yet how his name will change, how he will wrestle with God beside a river's bend. But tonight, he sleeps wrapped in a promise stronger than fear. You breathe in the desert air, feeling the warmth of that promise rest upon your shoulders too. A reminder that when the world turns cold and your pillow feels like a stone, there is a ladder waiting, a way for heaven to reach you while you dream. You open your eyes, and the desert plain dissolves. Now you stand at the edge of a dry well, its stones rough and cold beneath your fingertips. The sun is high, but here in the shadow you feel the weight of betrayal, a young boy's voice, echoing in the dark, Joseph. His brother's laughter fades into the distance as they walk away, leaving him behind with only his dreams for company. Dreams that once made him bold enough to speak of sheaves bowing down, stars bending to his light, visions that sparked jealousy and hate. You lean closer, hearing the soft chant of his heartbeat in the well's stillness. Fear tries to wrap itself around him like a serpent, but the dreams burn brighter in the dark. It is there, in the pit of despair, that Joseph learns what dreams can cost, and one day what they can save. The scene shifts. Years pass like drifting sand. Now you stand in the marble halls of Pharaoh's palace, the air cool and heavy with the scent of myrrh and sweat. Joseph stands before the throne, no longer a boy, but a man clothed in humility and wisdom, eyes steady as he listens to Pharaoh's restless words. 7 fat cows, 7 thin ones, fields devoured by wind and famine. Joseph closes his eyes. In the hush that follows, you feel the Spirit move through him like a river, carrying truth from heaven into the chambers of a king. When he speaks, the room stills. The dreams that once buried him now lift him up, turning chains into robes, dungeons into seats of power, and you, standing there beside him. Remember, sometimes your darkest pit becomes the womb for the dream that will save a nation. You breathe in, feel how even betrayal and silence can be folded into a greater plan. And as you exhale, the stone walls of Pharaoh's court fade into the shadows, preparing you for the next vision that waits beyond your eyelids. You stand now at the gates of a city lit by torches that never sleep, Babylon, a kingdom of gold and stone, where walls rise higher than fear can climb. The night is thick with the scent of burning oil, the distant murmur of servants brushing corridors in silence. You walk through arched halls until you find him, Daniel, a young man, yet old in wisdom, a captive with the heart of a king. His eyes are closed, his breath calm, as the world of men presses him to read what no one dares to see. You feel the tension in the room, scrolls scattered, wise men trembling, a king pacing with a crown too heavy for his restless mind. Nebuchadnezzar's dreams have shaken the pillars of power, but Daniel stands unmoved. For when the world's symbols grow wild and beasts crawl through visions, this man prays, and in prayer he listens. You kneel beside him, and in that hush, you too can hear it. Wings beating against the sky, horns rising, empires crumbling into dust. A statue with feet of clay, gold, silver, bronze, shattered by a stone, not cut by human hands. Daniel's lips move like a whisper of rain, blessed be the name of God forever and ever, for wisdom and might are his. In his dream, kingdoms rise and fall like sandcastles in a storm, but the rock that breaks them stands eternal. You watch him stand before the king, his voice soft but strong, speaking mysteries that cause tyrants to bow and scribes to tremble. A man with no army, no throne, yet the Lord places secrets in his sleep that outlasts the lion's roar. You feel the breath of the lions now, warm and damp against your skin, but you are not afraid. Daniel's God shuts the mouths that hunger for his flesh, just as he guards you when the night howls at your door. You close your eyes with him, resting in the truth that dreams can carry warnings and promises alike, and that the same God who sent them will stand by your side, even when walls of stone and beasts of fear rise against you. You find yourself now not in a palace, nor a pit, but in a quiet garden, the place between your waking and your dreaming. A soft breeze touches your cheek, and you hear the gentle rustle of olive branches overhead. Somewhere, water trickles over stone, each drop echoing like a heartbeat dot here. You rest not because there is no trouble in your life, but because there is a voice that speaks even when your world is still. You remember Jacob, who laid his head upon a stone yet saw ladders reaching heaven. You remember Joseph, who dreamed in darkness and rose to light. You remember Daniel, who faced the lion's breath with eyes wide open to visions beyond any earthly throne. And now you remember you, how often you close your eyes each night, never certain if sleep will bring rest or storms. But tonight, you listen deeper. Tonight, you let go of your worries, one by one, like leaves floating down a quiet stream. You hear your own breath, steady and warm, and you sense that same promise that wrapped itself around Jacob in the desert. I am with you, I will not leave you. Beneath the canopy of stars in your mind, you ask the questions you've carried for so long about your path, your family, your hidden fears. You offer them like seeds into the soil of the night. And maybe, just maybe, the one who gave Joseph the dreams that saved a nation, the one who whispered wisdom to Daniel in a foreign land, will speak to you too. not always with words, but with peace that grows when you trust that he never sleeps. You draw a slow breath, feel the garden grow, still around you, and rest in the hush where heaven meets earth while you sleep. You open your eyes within the hush of sacred walls. Stone pillars rise around you like silent guardians, each flame of the oil lamps flickering with secrets that the world has long forgotten. You walk barefoot across the cool floor of the tabernacle, where the Ark of the Covenant rests behind its veil, and you find him, a small boy curled on a woven mat. Samuel, his breathing is calm, like the rhythm of a quiet river. He has never known a world without this temple, never known a night when the lamp of God did not burn beside him. You kneel near him and listen, not to the creak of wood or the wind sighing against the walls, but to something deeper, a voice soft as a whisper in the dark. Samuel. You feel the boy stir. Tiny fingers clench the blanket as he sits up, eyes wide in the half-light. He runs to Eli, the old priest, whose bones are weary with years, but Eli only shakes his head. I did not call. Lie down again. You watch. Samuel return, heart pounding like a sparrow in his chest. He lies down, but sleep is thin when heaven calls your name. Again, Samuel. You hold your breath with him. You see the fear and wonder twist together in his young eyes. Again, he goes to Eli. Again, the old man sends him back. And then, at last, the truth dawns. The truth that sometimes the voice that wakes you in the night is not a dream, but a holy invitation. When the voice comes again, Samuel's lips part, in a whisper that echoes through generations. Speak, Lord, for your servant is listening. You feel those words settle into your own chest, like seeds of trust waiting to break open in the quiet of your sleep. How many times have you heard your name in the dark, a thought, a stirring, an unease you could not explain? Tonight, you let it come. You open the doors of your heart and say, Speak, Lord, I am listening. And in that listening, you drift into a deeper rest, safe within the walls of a temple that no darkness can breach. You find yourself standing in the shadows of a marble hall, the scent of stone and iron heavy in the air. Roman banners hang like crimson wounds against the pillars. Guards shift their feet, armor clinking softly in the hush before dawn. At the far end you see him, Pilate, a ruler caught between power and fear, his fingers drumming a restless beat against the seat of judgment. He stares at the prisoner before him, Jesus, silent, bruised, yet somehow more solid than the empire trembling under Rome's feet. But you are not here for Pilate. You feel another presence, a woman wrapped in linen, hair undone from a night without rest. Claudia, his wife. She stands in the shadows, her eyes red from the dream that woke her like thunder. You draw closer, and her whisper reaches you. Have nothing to do with that righteous man, for I have suffered much because of him today in a dream. You feel the tremor in her hands, the pounding in her chest. What did she see? A vision of injustice so deep it carved itself into her sleep. A glimpse of innocence betrayed by men too blind to see what stands before them. You stand beside her, sensing her fear, but also the love that made her speak. A voice from a dream daring to break through stone walls and iron crowns. Pilate hears her words, but fear of men grows louder than the echo of any dream. He washes his hands with water that cannot cleanse his soul, and the crowd roars like a beast unleashed. Yet in the hush that follows, you feel a strange comfort, even here, in the midst of betrayal and violence. God speaks through the dreams of the unseen. You breathe in, and for a moment, you hold Claudia's warning in your heart. Sometimes the dream is not for you alone, but for the one you dare to protect, the one you try to save from a choice that cannot be undone. You close your eyes, letting the marble hall fade into darkness, carrying with you the quiet courage of a woman who spoke what she saw, trusting that even when the world rejects the message, the dream still carries its truth like a candle in the night. You drift now through a field of soft, golden wheat. The night sky above you is deep and endless, stretched like a canvas waiting for new dreams to be painted in light. Each step you take sends a hush through the stalks, a soft rustle like whispered prayers from 1,000 souls before you. You feel them: Jacob, Joseph, Daniel, Samuel, Claudia, names that once were only ink on a page, now breathing beside you in the quiet of your own story. You pause and close your eyes, feeling the ground beneath your bare feet, rich, steady, the earth that holds you up even when the world seems to fall apart. In this place, you let your shoulders drop. You listen to the wind weave through the wheat, like a voice speaking truths too tender to shout. You think of Jacob's ladder, the angels climbing each rung like prayers rising from weary hearts. You think of Joseph, pulled from pits and prisons, by a dream that refused to die. You remember Daniel, who faced beasts and kings alike with visions carved into his sleep. You remember Samuel, small and listening, teaching you that sometimes God's voice comes not in thunder, but in the softest whisper of your name. And you remember Claudia, how even in the courts of power, a dream can be more dangerous than an army, more enduring than a throne. You draw a long breath, inhaling the scent of harvest and rain. You let it fill the empty spaces inside you, the corners where fear tries to build its nest. Exhale, feel it slip away. A promise remains: you are not alone in your dreaming. You are not alone in your wondering. When your eyes close and darkness settles over your mind, there is one who stands watch at the edge of your sleep, sending ladders and angels, warnings and whispers, turning even your rest into holy ground. You open your eyes to the night, sky, and somewhere far above the wheat, you see a single star flicker, a reminder that every dream worth keeping is lit by a flame that no darkness can swallow. You stand now on the edge of a dry valley, where the earth is cracked like broken pottery and the wind sighs through bones bleached by the sun. The air tastes of dust and distant storms. Yet here, in this place of ruin, you find him, Ezekiel, son of a priest, a prophet exiled by men but carried by visions only God could send. You step closer, feeling the ground tremble beneath your feet. A valley of bones stretches before you, countless as the stars you once saw over Jacob's ladder. Each rib and skull tells a story of battles lost, promises forgotten. Ezekiel's eyes are wide but calm, fixed not on the ruin but on the breath. He feels in the silence. You stand beside him as the voice comes, rolling over the valley like distant thunder. Son of man, can these bones live? You feel the question echo in your own bones. Can hope return to places that have forgotten their shape? Can dreams buried under years of exile breathe again? Ezekiel answers with a trembling heart. Sovereign Lord, you alone know. The wind stirs, rising from the four corners of the earth. You watch as bone joins bone, sinew wraps itself like a prayer around what was dead. Skin covers what was once only ash and echo. Then the breath, the spirit moving like dawn through a room that has long been shut. A rattling chorus of dry things waking to life. A promise that even the dreams you thought too far gone can stand again on feet made strong by mercy. You feel your own breath match the wind, deep and slow, and you wonder, what parts of you lie silent in the valley? What visions have you set aside, thinking they were too dry, too scattered to ever rise? Tonight, you let Ezekiel's vision settle in your chest. You allow the Spirit's breath to find your weary places, the bones that ache with questions, the hopes you buried under the weight of waiting. As you stand in this valley, you understand, dreams that are truly of God may sleep for a season, but they are never lost. They are waiting for the wind to come, for the voice to whisper, for you to believe that dry bones do live again. You stand at the doorway of a small stone house, its walls holding the warmth of a single oil lamp, its air thick with the scent of wood shavings and fresh hay. Inside, you see him, Joseph, son of David, a man whose hands are rough from shaping beams and boards, whose heart is softer than any wood he ever carved. He sleeps beside a bundle of linen that holds a promise so fragile it could break under the weight of fear. Mary's breath is quiet behind him, her belly round with a child the world does not yet understand. You watch Joseph's brow crease in the shadows, troubled by whispers that echo through his mind, voices of gossip, shame, the laws of men, the fear of what he cannot control. And then, in the hush of that night, the dream comes. A figure, bright as the first morning light, stands before him. Joseph, son of David, do not be afraid. You feel those words wash over him like a warm wind. Do not be afraid to take Mary as your wife. Do not be afraid to shelter what the world will one day call impossible. In this dream, Joseph's fear bends like green wood under the hand of the carpenter. His trust becomes the cradle that will hold the Savior of all. You breathe in the holy hush that fills this humble room, a reminder that sometimes the greatest miracles begin in the quiet. Hidden in a dream only the willing heart can receive. You watch him wake, eyes wide with wonder. No crown, no throne, no army to guard this child. Only the faith of a dreamer who dared to listen. As you stand near the threshold, you feel the weight of your own fears, the questions that rattle through your mind when the world grows dark, and you remember, like Joseph, you too are not alone in the shadows. When fear knocks at your door, the voice that came to him can come to you, soft, strong, calling you by name. Do not be afraid. You close your eyes and rest, trusting that sometimes the dream is the answer, and the dreamer is braver than he knows. You find yourself on a road that winds through the dark folds of desert hills. The sky above you is deep and clear, a blanket stitched with countless stars. Yet there is one star brighter than the rest, a fire that calls to the hearts of those who watch the heavens. You walk beside them now, wise men from the east, cloaked in fabrics dyed with the colors of distant lands. Their camels breathe heavy in the cool night, bells chiming softly with each slow, deliberate step. They have traveled far, not guided by maps nor armies, but by a dream that began in the depths of the sky. You see how their eyes lift again and again to that light, a promise hanging above a world that knows so much darkness. When at last they find the child, in a house far humbler than any palace, they kneel low kings who bow not to thrones of gold, but to a cradle of simple straw. You stand behind them as gifts are laid before the small. Sleeping king, gold for his royalty, frankincense for his divinity, myrrh for the shadows yet to come. But even kings need dreams to guard them. In the hush of that night, while the child rests in Mary's arms, The wise men close their eyes, and the voice comes, a warning: do not return to Herod. Do not follow the path that fear sets before you. Take another road. You feel the pull of that dream, how even the mighty must bow to the soft instructions given in sleep. How a dream can protect more than armies ever could. As you walk back with them under the same bright star, you wonder what roads lie ahead of you, which paths you have always taken because the world told you to, and which ones you might find when you dare to listen for another voice. You draw a breath as the desert wind brushes your face, and you know, sometimes, the way home is not the same way you came. Sometimes the dream reroutes you, not to confuse you, but to keep safe what is most holy inside you. So tonight you rest. You let the star burn above you. You let the dream guard your steps as you sleep, leading you always closer to the place where heaven touches earth. You stand now in a room that feels familiar, yet different, as if the walls remember your prayers, as if the air itself carries the scent of every holy hush you've ever known. You walk barefoot across the cool floor. A candle flickers on a simple table, its flame dancing with each breath you draw. There is no ladder here, no palace, no lions waiting in the dark. Only you, your heartbeat, and the quiet weight of all you've heard. You feel them beside you. Still, Jacob's ladder rising where you least expect it. Joseph's dream pulling you from pits you thought would swallow you whole. Daniel's courage to speak what others feared to see. Samuel's tiny whisper, "Speak, Lord, for your servant," is listening. Claudia's warning that came too late but was brave enough to be spoken. Ezekiel's bones rattling back to life with the Spirit's breath. Joseph, the carpenter, trusting a child to a promise stronger than fear. The Magi turning from danger because a dream rerouted their road. All these stories sit within you now, woven into the fabric of your sleep. You breathe in, let the candle's warmth remind you that your mind is not empty ground. It is a garden waiting for seeds. And when you close your eyes, He who keeps watch over Israel neither slumbers nor sleeps. You listen. You let go of the voices that say you cannot hear Him. You silence the noise that says your fears are too big, your faith too small. Instead, you open your heart like Samuel did, like Joseph did, like the Magi did when they followed the star. You rest your head, not on stone, but on the pillow that holds all your questions. And you know that each one is safe tonight. There is no dream too small for Him to speak through. No silence so deep that His voice cannot find you, so you close your eyes, you breathe, and you listen for the hush that carries heaven to earth. One heartbeat, one whisper, one dream at a time. You rest now beneath a sky that feels closer than ever before, as if the stars themselves lean low to listen to your breath. Your eyes are closed, yet you see so much more than when they were open. You feel the hush that settles when your mind stops chasing tomorrow, when your heart no longer clings to the fears that love has already untied. Somewhere within you, you sense that same ladder Jacob saw, each rung a promise that your worries cannot climb high enough to reach Him, but His mercy always can reach. You remember how Joseph's darkest pit became the door to a palace, how Daniel's visions survived empires that rose and fell like sandcastles in the rain. You hold Samuel's simple words close. "Speak, Lord, for your servant is listening." And tonight you too are listening, not for thunder, not for fire, but for the tender breath of God moving through your dreams. You feel the hush of the garden, the hush of the temple, the hush of the hidden places where His voice still stirs the air like dawn stirring the shadows. You let your thoughts drift like leaves on a gentle stream. Each fear, each longing, each question, they all find their way into his hands. And as you rest, you understand your sleep is not just an end to the day. It is a doorway where heaven leans close, where angels ascend and descend with whispers, just for you, so you breathe deeper, letting your chest rise and fall like waves against a quiet shore. Your eyelids grow heavier. Your spirit settles, held safe in the arms of the one who neither slumbers nor forgets. In this stillness, you wait, not striving, not searching, just waiting, like Samuel waited, like the Magi trusted the star, like Joseph believed the voice that spoke to him in the dark. For even now, as you drift toward the edge of sleep, the one who gave dreams to kings and warnings to queens still keeps watch over you. You belong to him, awake and dreaming, doubting and believing, walking and resting. Tonight, you are safe. Tonight, you are seen. Tonight, you are heard. You rest now at the very edge of dreaming, where the world grows soft and the spirit's voice becomes clear like a bell in the distance. You see the path behind you, lined with the footprints of so many who have walked this road before. Jacob, who laid his head on stone, yet dreamed of ladders reaching the stars. Joseph, who trusted the dream that pulled him from darkness into light. Daniel, who closed his eyes to see what kings could not. Samuel, whose young voice answered in the hush of a temple. Claudia, who carried a warning in her sleep when no one else would listen. Ezekiel, who saw dry bones rise again when hope seemed lost. The carpenter Joseph, whose yes in the night sheltered a miracle. The Magi, who turned their journey because a single dream spoke louder than a king's command. And now, you stand among them, not as a stranger, but as one more soul who dares to listen when the world grows quiet. Your breath moves gently in your chest, in and out like the tide, that never fails to find the shore. Each inhale reminds you, you are never beyond his reach. Each exhale releases the questions. You do not need to carry alone. You feel how the stories you heard tonight are not just ancient words carved in fading scrolls. They live inside you now. Seeds waiting to bloom in the darkness. Promises that even your deepest fears cannot uproot. You understand at last. Dreams are not just shadows in your sleep. They are windows through which heaven whispers truths too tender to shout. So tonight, you give yourself permission to rest. You do not need to search for ladders or stars. They will find you when the time is right. You are not lost. You are not forgotten. You are not alone. Somewhere beyond the veil of sleep, the one who spoke to prophets, kings, and exiles speaks to you too, not because you have earned it, but because you are loved. You settle into this truth like a child, settling into warm blankets. You close your eyes, feeling the hush fold over you like gentle wings. And as you drift, you know the dreams you keep tonight are held in hands stronger than fear, wiser than your questions, and kinder than you dare to believe. May the Lord bless you and keep you as you drift into dreams shaped by his whispers. May his angels stand watch at the gates of your sleep, guiding your spirit through fields of promise and hidden gardens of peace. May the ladders of Jacob rise beside your bed, each rung a reminder that heaven is never far from you, that every question carried on your breath finds its way to the one who knows your name. May you rest like Joseph in the hush of trust, like Daniel in the den where fear cannot speak, like Samuel beneath the lamp that never goes out. May the dry bones of your worry rattle with new life. and every road that fear has closed be opened again by a single word from his mouth. And when morning comes, may you rise renewed, eyes clear, heart steady, your dreams watered by the mercy that watched you through the night. Sleep now, beloved child. You are seen, you are guarded, you are deeply loved, until morning comes, and you rise renewed.